Russia's State Defense Corporation, Rostec, has presented 8 new types of advanced unmanned aerial vehicles that Russian troops are already operating or preparing to field in the Special Military Operations Zone in Ukraine. The showcase took place in Moscow on February 20th to 21st, 2026, right before Defender of the Fatherland Day, as an internal display of more than 140 pieces of equipment actually being used on the front lines. CEO Sergey Chemezov walked through the exhibition himself and put it plainly: the war in Ukraine has become a drone war, so Rostec put special emphasis on unmanned systems. They showed devices in 4 basic categories: fixed-wing aircraft types, vertical takeoff and landing models, quadcopters and multicopters, powered either by electric motors or internal combustion engines. The drones come from Kalashnikov Concern, the Rose Electronica holding, and other Rostec enterprises. Some are already in serial production, others are in the final stages before mass output. Chemezov stressed the point: more than 10 types of Rostec drones are already working effectively in the zone today, responsible for locating and destroying thousands of enemy targets. The new 8 expand that lineup with greater variety in range, payload, endurance and mission profile, reconnaissance, precision strikes, real-time battlefield coordination, and loitering roles. You may ask, why now? Battlefield reality drove it. Ukrainian forces have flooded the front with cheap FPV drones, sea drones and long-range strike systems, forcing Russia to adapt fast. Every week brings fresh lessons from combat footage and after-action reports. Rostec and the Defense Ministry feed those lessons straight back into factories. Sanctions were supposed to starve Russian industry of electronics and engines, but the corporation claims it has now localized the entire supply chain: controllers, communication modules, electric motors, even fuel systems. That domestic pipeline lets them iterate in months, not years, and scale production without waiting for imports. Production is ramping hard. Rostec enterprises are expanding capacity and widening the model range exactly because the front consumes drones at an industrial rate. The goal is not just to match Ukrainian numbers, but to overwhelm with different classes that cover every tactical niche: long loiter fixed wing for deep reconnaissance, agile electric quads for urban or trench line strikes, VTOL models that don't need runways in forward positions, and heavier ICE-powered birds for bigger payloads or longer range. As of now, the Russian units already integrate these systems into combined arms tactics. Drones spot targets for artillery and tanks, guide Lancet-style loitering munitions, and conduct direct FPV attacks. Commanders report the variety reduces vulnerability if one type is jammed or shot down. Others with different frequencies, flight profiles, or autonomy levels still get through. At the same time, Rostec is fielding the Pei-Tau counter-drone tools shown alongside them. New 30mm airburst rounds for automatic cannons, upgraded Panzer missile loads that can quadruple ready-to-fire interceptors against swarms, and electronic warfare systems that protect friendly drones while blinding enemy ones. It's a full-spectrum push, offense and defense together. Possible consequences are significant. Tactically, a more diverse and resilient Russian drone fleet will raise the cost of Ukrainian advances and make Russian defensive lines harder to probe. Expect higher Ukrainian equipment losses in the coming months, especially in artillery, logistics convoys, and command posts that drones now reach faster and cheaper than manned aviation. Operationally, this helps Russia sustain the attritional grind while conserving pilots and expensive missiles. Strategically, the message to the West is clear. Sanctions have not broken the Russian defense industry, they have forced it to become more self-reliant and innovative. That resilience could encourage countries watching from the sidelines, especially in Africa, the Middle East and parts of Asia to view Russian unmanned systems as a proven sanctions-resistant alternative to Western offerings. Export potential for the non-classified variants is already on Rostec's radar following the pattern of earlier Lancet and Orlan sales. In the long run, this accelerates the global shift toward cheap, mass-produced unmanned systems as the decisive factor in conventional conflicts. Armies everywhere will have to rewrite doctrine, invest far more in counter-drone layers, and accept that the days of expensive manned platforms operating without heavy electronic and kinetic protection are ending. For Ukraine, the pressure will mount to find new countermeasures, better jamming, more interceptors, or its own next-generation swarms, while Western partners face the question of how much more aid they can sustain in a war measured in thousands of cheap drones per week. One more thing worth noting as an investigative point, the timing and the internal nature of the showcase. This was not a big international air show reveal. It was a closed-loop demonstration for the military and political leadership using real combat hardware. That suggests the systems have already passed the most rigorous test, actual use under fire, and are now being scaled for the next phase of the campaign. Chemezov also signaled future growth. In the near future, our enterprises plan to significantly increase the number of unmanned products for both military and civilian purposes, meaning that the drone pipeline is only getting wider. The 8 new drone types will not end the conflict by themselves, but they will make Russia's side of the battlefield more lethal, more persistent, and harder to suppress. In the drone war that defines this phase of the Ukraine conflict, that edge matters, and the rest of the world is watching how quickly and effectively one sanctioned economy can still deliver it.